Hey, hey, welcome back, guys. All right, let's see how this one is. I'm still seeing some disturbance in the buffering of this. Okay, so we're still experiencing some kind of weird problems with the internet or glitches on YouTube. I think it's a combo now. So please let me know if you guys are struggling to hear and see me. Um, I don't really know why we're having so much trouble lately, but we got a Two of Cups. Hi, Denisa. Great to see you, love. Starting out with the Two of Cups. I swear last time we used this deck, that Two of Cups. Ooh, Two of Cups card came out. Hang on. I can't take any of those because it was like 50 cards all at once. This is an exceptionally difficult deck to shuffle, so I'm a little sloppy with it. We have a Two of Wands. We're doing a love check-in. We start out with, one person's thinking about love like really intensely. This is magic. This could be it, or maybe it's not. That's a pretty extreme swing of the pendulum. This is everything, or it's just, I'll meet somebody else tomorrow that strikes my fancy just as much. I need to understand that better. This is like somebody says, I'm either going to like marry this person or they're not going to be that important to me at all. Knight of Wands in the reverse. Okay, you know what I think this boils down to? I think what we're seeing is, oh, good. I'm so glad you guys can see and hear. Wonderful. Thank you for the feedback, everybody. Really appreciate it. It looks like it's smoothing out a little on my end too, but I believe this is a person, possibly a knight, and maybe once upon a time they were, someone who lived life in the fast lane. They, flirted a lot. They had lots of, one-nighters and lots of relationships that didn't really last, and they were fine with that. But that's not who they are. But they're aware, because once upon a time they were that person, they're aware that they might be attracted to somebody who might look at them that way. So this is kind of like a player, perhaps is not a player anymore, but man, do they ever understand the player mentality. And they're like, just because I may now really feel something for someone, I can't guarantee that they're going to feel the same from me. And I know all too well that sometimes there can be this awesome attraction, but maybe it's only physical, or it feels super important, but I'm just going to be their passing fancy. It kind of feels like a player who is not a player in this situation knows he may or may not be the chosen one. It's an interesting seat to sit in when once upon a time he may have, or she, it doesn't matter what gender, but he or she may have been the person who used to be very casual flings. Now they know this, they know all too well, because they probably led people on before. They probably acted like they were all into somebody, but is a passing fancy. This time it's not for them, but they know it might be for whomever their, in this case, object of affection is, which could be a fire dancer, could be some rave dancer, some performer, somebody who's got like a, maybe a, I don't know, she's kind of like standing up on a stage doing some kind of presentation or fire dancing or something artistic, but they might be like, wow, like I am head over heels for her, but I don't know that she's going to care that much about me. Okay. Interesting to see a player be like, I might be about to get played. Ooh, Eight of Swords. The player is nervous. The player is very, like, they're walking on a tightrope now. And it's almost like she doesn't even know. She might be sleeping peacefully, and they're up here walking on a tightrope going, I'm so nervous. I don't know what's going to happen if I approach her. Is she going to even notice me? Is she going to blow me off? Like, I'm thinking that this could be the love of my life. And I'm thinking, gosh, she doesn't even know my name. Six of Pentacles in the reverse. What if she doesn't care to know my name? What if I'm nobody but just a face in the crowd to her? What if I don't stand out to her? A very humbling experience for somebody who once upon a time might have been a player themselves. Okay, so let's go ahead and tell me just about the Two of Wands. Oh, Godzilla MC, thank you for that feedback, hon. I hope it wasn't too bad in the Taurus video. Seven of Cups. Yeah, she's possibly either oblivious or she has a lot of people that admire her. She could just be confused about, if somebody's not making a direct overture toward her, she might just kind of be like, oh, I don't, unless somebody tells me how they really feel about me, it's not like I can tell. I can't read minds. Two of Pentacles. I don't know. She either has a lot going on in her world. She juggles a lot. She's busy a lot. So she just doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to people that may or may not be attracted to her without like really stating what their interests are with her. Or she actually does have a multitude of people to choose from, and she's not really sure where she wants to give her heart. Let's change decks and keep going. Tell me more just about her. What's her life like? What is she? Okay, Wheel of Fortune. Her life is quite busy. Obviously, we've got all these buzzing electrons, but she's also kind of like in a phase of her life where there's this glow up going on around her. That if the Wheel of Fortune is in your corner, it means you are on the upswing. She did some good karma, brownie point earning in the past, and it's coming back to her now. Seven of Wands, Queen of Wands. She may not know how attractive she is. That could maybe be why we've got the confusion on her part. She may not even recognize that she's being looked at and salivated over and seen as this highly attractive person. She may be someone that's like, yeah, I don't know. That's just not where my attention has been. My attention has been, well, on the fire that I'm throwing. So that fire, let me ask what that is specifically for her. It's like she's more concerned about the choices that she's going to make, maybe with creative endeavors or with ideas. Queen of Cups, that could have to do with where she wants to put her heart and her energy. But you notice that she's pouring that cup right into her own little pond here. I'm feeling like this is possibly a single divine feminine who is in a head and heart space where she's a little oblivious to the fact that other people find her super attractive. She's having some awesome turn of good fortune in her own life, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know what to say about this. I'm just having to kind of like take care of my own endeavors, figure out my own, way through problems. I kind of love my life, and maybe I'm pleasant to other people, but she just kind of seems more self-focused, but without being like hyper-focused on herself or, even here, she kind of has a bit of hell, she doesn't even have a shirt on. She kind of forgot to put on a shirt. She's not super made up. She may not even have makeup on. Hair's pretty natural. She's just kind of out there in her favorite funky, whatever these pants are. I do not know. But she definitely got her own like funky style. It doesn't really matter to her because she's not imagining other people are staring at her, interested in her. So she's just kind of doing her thing. She's, it's nice to see a character that's kind of unconcerned with how she is coming across to others because she's just busy being authentic and kind of taking care of her own life. So it's very interesting that somebody who seems more authentic is capturing the eye of an individual who used to be a player and is now the one feeling like they're walking on a tightrope, like, oh my God, she's so attractive. She's so amazing, but I don't know if she'd want me. Interesting that somebody who used to be a player, which kind of speaks of sometimes being insincere. It doesn't have to be, but kind of speaks of someone who could have been insincere, or at minimum, they were just very swiftly pulled off in different directions. But what he's attracted to really is somebody who's super sincere. We got a Five of Swords. I keep getting the vibe that he might have broken some hearts in the past, that maybe there was some ego. Maybe he left a couple people feeling like he was a freaking villain. I don't know that he has such good karma, because why do we have a Five of Swords? Like, I'm almost thinking if people talked about him, they may say exactly what he was. Oh yeah, he pops into your life, but he doesn't stay. He doesn't know what he wants. The Chariot should be upright. Chariots upright are, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I know what my intentions are. Sideways, we got somebody who runs over here, runs over there, still figuring it out. One step forward, two steps back. And now, granted, this is kind of like who he used to be. But has he really changed overnight? I mean, what is it about her that's making him feel so different? Sorry, my baby is is really active again tonight. 7 of Pentacles, and he was so tired 2 minutes ago, and then he's ever the protector. There's something about her that I don't know if he's like, maybe deep down he's always hoped to find somebody like her. 7 of Pentacles is like a slow growth period. Maybe he's just matured a little himself over time. That maybe that's the best way to say it. Death card upright and Hierophant. Yeah. There has been a slow maturation within him. Some kind of, egotistical game player, not sure of what he wanted, that has given way to, to put it simply, somebody who's like really matured with the help of the universe. He's been in the universal classroom. This is the Death card, which is all about massive transformation. Maybe he looks at love different. Maybe he looks at relationships different. He looks at long-term connections as something that he really, really wants. Basically, the party days aren't so much fun anymore. He wants someone stable. He wants somebody by his side. He wants somebody that feels authentic, which is ironic because I don't think he was very authentic in the past. I do think that he might have even been pretty callous in the past. Look, if you're not ready to settle down, you're not ready to settle down. As long as you're not pretending that you're trying to settle down with people and breaking their hearts on purpose, then, no harm, no foul. Everybody has a right to date around however they want. Just don't mess with people's minds, gaslight them, tell them, I love you, we're going to be together forever. Until tomorrow morning when I dip out, as long as somebody's not doing that, as long as they're like, look, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't see, that's not a villain. We don't get to cast somebody as a villain. They have every right to date around, do what they want to do, even if it makes other people upset because they wanted more. If he was never pretending to offer more, then I don't think it's fair to label him as, somebody who is really cruel and callous. However, we have cards that say that he might have been a little bit callous and maybe a little bit of a heartbreaker and maybe really didn't care about that at all. And at this point, he's different. So he's changed with the help of the universe. These are 2 major arcana. He was, I think he was a kind of a hot mess in the past. And I think that he's a much more evolved version of himself now. I don't know what it is really that has made him evolve so much. By the way, that's Taurus and Scorpio. We also had Cancerian in there on his side. Page of Wands and the Hanged Man. I don't know. This almost feels like he's learned some things and been humbled and is reverting to like seeing the world through a totally different lens. Sometimes when we learn something new about who we are, that's when, we look at the world through a lens that we're like, I can't believe who I used to be. I can't believe I used to act like that. I can't believe it. I'm so embarrassed of the way I was. Sometimes you don't know how to see the world in a different lens until you've matured, until you've had some life experience. And then you're like, I'm so embarrassed of some of the stuff that I used to say. Personally, I think if we never look back at anything that we said or did and cringe, then I'm not sure we've really grown. So like, I can relate to a character like growing and looking back and saying, oh my God, I so wish that I hadn't said or done that. I can't believe how foolish I was. I can't believe, how cringy I was. And the reason I'm saying it all like this is because that Hanged Man, in this card, he's hanging by 1 foot under the tree of life, right next to the Akashic records. So we know he's had some pretty significant changes. There's a pretty big change to like how they see life at this point. 9 of Cups in the reverse. They were very self-indulgent before, and it wasn't even bringing them happiness. I think sometimes this is a card of so much excess. This could be rock star lifestyle, too much drinking, too much indulgence. They thought they were the ish, right? They thought everybody was falling at their feet, and maybe everybody was. And now they're like, oh God, it's so much better to be like more humble and more self-aware. And, this is somebody who I do think that they were a hothead or something. at one point in time. And the choices that they made, I don't even think brought them joy. It certainly didn't bring them meaningful connections. It might have even built kind of a bad reputation with a couple of people that don't think highly of them because of how they used to act. But they are evolving. Now, to go back to like, they're impressed with her, right? The only thing that I don't know is like, is it because she's shiny and different? You know, we already described her as somebody who seems to be like not putting on any affectations, pretty straightforward, right? But I'm still wondering, even that will seem like a shiny new penny, right? We're describing her as like kind of simplified, kind of authentic, but if this is their first foray into something more authentic, that could feel like shiny new penny syndrome. 7 of Cups. No, in this case, it's not, though. It's more along the lines of, yes, he's interested because he hasn't met somebody like her, but he's also interested because this is kind of like the next phase of his own evolution. There's like, he's realizing that there's some things to learn from her, from this connection, from you know, just these are all alchemical symbols in all these cups, right? And so what I'm going to say is that if she is helping him like transmute himself, transform himself, he knows that this is like the beginning of some more transformation. He feels like she's, I don't know if he's saying like she could be almost a teacher or what more she might unlock within him, but he knows he's looking at something that's pretty special and knows that it's going to have a kind of a special impact on him as well. Let's get a card out of the chakra deck. The Emperor. It's like I want to walk like an emperor, talk like an emperor. He wants to keep evolving for sure. This is throat chakra, so the way he communicates, I feel like this is like a whole new way for him to communicate to anybody. I feel like he wants to say things that are more profound. I feel like he's understanding some more profound things about maybe life, his place in it, things about himself. He may want to talk about, you know, philosophical things with her, but it's definitely strong Aries energy, by the way. We're really watching, in this case, like divine masculine, it's going through a pretty massive evolution of self. He wants a long-term connection for sure as well. It's like he's now under this impression that the way to build an empire is to be an emperor, but to also, you know, an emperor wants to have their counterpart. They want to, you know, have good counsel around them. They want to make, you know, decisions together with someone that, you know, cares about the empire the same way that they do. 7 of Wands is here. 7s are divine numbers. 7 of Wands is how we overcome struggles. I really keep thinking that in his mind, like this is a crown chakra. She may be the answer to some blockages for him. Again, kind of like she's got some spiritual awareness, perhaps, or she's really dialed into some consciousness that he's wanting to know more about. Let me ask this. You said you think that she's your 2 of Cups right out of the gate, right? You said that about her. Are you meaning that in a romantic sense, or are you meaning that you think she is like some great partner for you during this phase of your spiritual evolution? Ace of Cups. Now he thinks he's in love with her. Now, this is kind of like a combination of like very wholesome love, very spiritual love, very, you know, at the mental level, at the emotional level. This is root chakra. So it's like from the foundational level, like he already says, no, I love who she is as a person. I love that human being first, but I also want to like offer my heart to her. Okay. So he's incredibly impressed with her, incredibly impressed with her. Anything else about that Death card? Again, with this huge transformation, it's like he looks at her and he knows she already stepped through some process that he's currently going through, right? Because we have like a spiritual version of her and this other enlightened version of her with, you know, her head glowing. And again, with the crown chakra here. that death card. He sees her as like some kind of evolved being. How do you know this about her? How is it that you are seeing this side of her? Four of Wands, how do you explain what your heart feels? This is the heart chakra. The Four of Wands energy is, I resonate with her. There's this frequency that feels like I feel whole. I feel better when I'm either around her or thinking of her or connected to her. There's something that my heart is telling me this is the right frequency. Like it's all dialed in. Everything's plugged in, all systems go, everything is locked in and going really smooth when I'm around her energy. Okay, so they're very certain that that their heart knows it. They're, she's a part of their journey. She's right for them. It's kind of, it sounds a little heavy-handed, a little cheesy, but it's almost like, I was meant to meet her. I was meant to, like, when I would evolve, that's the person that, of course she's on my path. Of course I was supposed to cross paths with her because I'm finally changing my frequency to something better. And that's why I can see her now. I almost feel like we could go down the sci-fi route and say that they can maybe see her aura, whether or not they identify that. They can now see something that they couldn't see before. They definitely can see the value of somebody who's authentic. So that right there is huge. Before, when you're maybe here for a good time, not a long time, you're making quick decisions. Everything is like flashy and plastic, and there's a lot to be said for slowing things down enough to like really feel the energy and really connect with somebody. And I just don't think that they could until now. So they become much more profound, right? As far as this goes with the way he feels about her, we still see her kind of oblivious to the fact that although I gotta say, I'm glad we kind of are talking about chakras and auras, because with these buzzing electrons, I do feel like her energy field is probably pretty radiant. It's probably pretty noticeable. She could have a certain glow to her. She's coming across as a couple different queens. Queens carry themselves with an energy anyway. They carry themselves with like a grace. They carry themselves with some kind of vibe. And so I'm guessing that there is like an extension of her that walks into a room. We've got this 10 of Wands. It's in the reverse, and this is the solar plexus chakra. That's a house of willpower. So when it comes to her, like simply exerting her own like intentions, I don't think anything holds her back. I think that she's talked about authentic. I feel like she probably expresses herself. She may express, what she feels inside may come right across through her facial features. It doesn't matter if she says a word. You know how like babies show you everything that they're thinking? Babies, because they don't play coy, right? Babies don't have any idea yet of like how, okay, I better mask my emotions here. I better not react. They haven't learned that. So if a baby is happy, they give you a big old grin. If a baby is spooked, they show you. If a baby is surprised, they show you. Like you can just read their little faces, and they don't need words. They just told you everything with, one little raised eyebrow. That's why babies we always say they make such silly faces, when really they're just expressing in a nonverbal way what they're feeling inside. And I kind of feel like she's a little like that. Maybe she's got a kind of mobile face because she's not trying to mask anything. If somebody's authentic, they're probably showing exactly what they think. Now that can go right down to like if she's pissed, if she's happy, if she thinks somebody is odious, she might just show that too. I doubt she's going to fake that she likes somebody when she doesn't. I doubt she's going to do any of that. That sense of she owns her willpower. She owns how she feels. She decides what she's going to do. If she's determined, you can probably see the set of the jaw pretty smooth. And it's like, yep, she's doing that. She may not even have to say, hold my beer. Somebody will probably just be like, okay, here she goes. I already know she's going to go do that because I saw the look on her face. I just feel like she's very, very, very transparent about her willpower. Again, super refreshing perhaps to see somebody who's just going to go for it. Eight of Coins. The thing is, this isn't somebody who's like, get out of my way, everybody. I'm going to go do this. She's not. This isn't one of those kooky, like, I am woman, hear me roar. It's not a cliched saying. It's nothing like that. She's not trying to swagger around. This is super straightforward, where she's just working on trying to do the things that she thinks are right for herself, for her life, the things that she cares to work on, the things that she's interested in, the things that feel like the right path to her. This is not for, I'm going to tell everybody how, dedicated I am. She's not doing this for, I'll say, a clip or a meme or to get people to pay attention. That is really, really important in this story, that comes across, because this is an authentic person who is unconcerned with how others are viewing her. So she's not trying to stand there and announce to everybody, this is what I'm going to do. Everybody, I want to be known for this. I want to be known as the swaggering, little chippy who, is super brave. She's not doing it for any reason other than she's just kind of listening to her own intuition, I guess, or her own path. And she's actually kind of humbly still very much working on something at that foundational level. So she's not acting like she's all that. Again, it kind of seems like that's exactly why he likes her so much, because she's not acting like she's got it all figured out. In fact, she's very much still in process of just trying to figure out life, trying to figure out how to do things. I can see why masculine or feminine, please remember, this could be a same-sex couple, this could be reverse gender roles. That would be a very attractive person, somebody who's just doing what they feel they're supposed to do, and they're pretty like unaware of the fact that others are paying attention. That's really awesome. That is always attractive. The lack of, vamping for the camera is just, I think that's a very attractive quality. Okay, so with that in mind, then, what does this mean? Because she just seems so uninvolved with whether or not she's being stared at. Okay, she just might look back over her shoulder, though. At some point, has she noticed him? Him, her, whatever. Doesn't matter, but Three of Pentacles. Yell, Reuben, you angel. Thank you so much. Yell, thank you. Thank you so much for the quote. I couldn't remember who said that. Thank you, Yell. You are so wonderful. Then so generous. Thank you, D'Artagnan. We have got this Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles here, there is something. There is some awareness that she has that he either is present or on the outskirts of her world. She's standing next to this glowing sunflower, and then we have another flower that's kind of off to the side that's being built. I do think she's noticed him. Okay, so she's not oblivious, but she's noticing him again in just a very straightforward, turning to make actual eye contact. There's nothing, coy or anything. It's just kind of like she's looking back over her shoulder like, oh, I just noticed them. Why do we have a Four of Cups? This is weird, but my first thought is that she may glance over and go, oh, huh. Boy, I'd like to deal with somebody like that, but they probably wouldn't notice me. It almost feels like she's almost immediately discounting or saying, yeah, I haven't had so much luck in the whole romance department anyway. It feels like she's almost discounting. Sun in the reverse. Imagining that, of course, they wouldn't be looking at her. They must be looking at somebody behind me. It's definitely, that's a little bit more self-depreciating than I would have expected from her. Six of Swords. Yeah, she just kind of keeps going on about her day. So she may notice them. She even has a thought that there's a moment of interest. Like, I would like to work with somebody like that. I'd like to interact with somebody like that. But they probably wouldn't be thinking that about me. Anyway, on I go. She's I'm not going to say she's dismissive. It's not that. It's just more of like, yeah, but I'm sure they probably weren't even looking my way. So she's definitely somebody that either assumes like, oh, I'm, whatever, I'm plain, or I'm not the kind of person that draws attention like that. She has no freaking clue, does she? If you look at this, we already said there's something different about her that she hasn't even realized. I was talking about it like maybe her aura is particularly bright. That's a pretty good depiction. I mean, there's a glow all the way around her. She's in literally like a peacock skirt, which is, that plumage is so gorgeous, but she doesn't seem to know how gorgeous she is. She doesn't seem to realize that she's radiating. Maybe in her mind, she's always been like, oh, I'm just not the person who gets noticed very much. She's standing here with fire here also. She's a Queen of Wands twice. This lady is spicy. This lady is hot, and she doesn't seem to know it. Now, maybe she's had a recent glow up that she doesn't recognize. Maybe she's at sometimes when we just get comfortable in our own skin at a certain age, sometimes the older we get, the better we look because we get more comfortable. And I'm thinking that it could be something like that where she's like, oh, no, I'm, whatever. I wasn't somebody who was sought after when I was younger. And now that I'm older, of course, nobody's looking my way. I think she's the most attractive phase of her life, and she's the least self-conscious about it. We got a 5 of Cups and we got the 7 of Pentacles in the reverse. She's kind of saying, it almost looks like she's somebody who's imagining that she's too old to be heartbroken over, whether or not somebody notices her. She's kind of used to being overlooked is almost the way this is coming across, which couldn't be further than from the truth. Like, this is so much, all the reasons that he is interested in her, intrigued by her, attracted to her. Maybe once upon a time, maybe he would have been the kind of person that would have only gone for super, super flashy, and she wasn't that person at any point in her life. She is now like someone who's extremely, I would probably say, like, there's a sophistication, there's an elegance. Anytime we're talking about queens, we got to use those elevated words, and then he's coming across as somebody who wants to be a full-blown emperor, which emperors don't look for the superficial. Emperors don't, you can't run an empire based off of, things that are only either skin deep or just transitional, or transient moments. You have to actually seek out things that have much more value. So maybe that's the other reason she's like, oh no, I'm used to being discounted, because mostly I've only come across people that, maybe she even reads him as like, oh, he's probably just somebody who likes more attractive, superficial, whatever. And that doesn't mean that somebody who's attractive now, we assume that they're superficial, right? Attractive people that doesn't mean that they're superficial. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying she may have assumed that she's not his type, or that she's just used to not being a type. This comes across like maybe she was spot on with that. Maybe in the past, had he not evolved into the person that he is today, he would not be looking her way. I mean, I think that's probably fair to say, just because he's gone through all these transformations. So she might be reading the old version of the situation correctly. But that's, now she's kind of like making an assessment of somebody without knowing him, right? He's a different person than what she might be expecting. But it's not really like she's assessing him. She's more or less just saying, oh, I know how I typically get treated, which is I'm not the person. I'm not the person that somebody, is drawn to. Literally, we have the Lovers in the reverse. Yeah, I'm just not the person that people seek out. I'm just not that person. I'm a little too simple. I'm a little too understated. Whatever it is, whatever she thinks of herself. Now, she may have experienced that, like lovers who chose other people. Maybe that's the other reason that she assumes this. This is kind of like, that old saying, like, nice guys finish last. And it's like, that should never be true. Like, the nice guy should be the one anybody would want to be with. But it's almost feeling like, the kind of like the more quality character here in the feminine is the one who's so used to not being selected, and yet this is like, I don't think she's ever been more attractive. I think she was always attractive, but particularly right now, there's just a whole different vibe to her. And I think it's because there's not this immense effort put into like, oh, let me change myself. Let me try to become someone else. And I just feel like that is now being like really highly prized and valued. So with this relationship that is obviously on the horizon, although that's like not even on her radar at this point, what is going on? We have a 10 of Wands sideways. To me, she's again going off kind of unconcerned. She noticed him and then she kind of dismissed and she assumes, okay, anyway, yeah, they were attractive, but I'm sure they're not interested in me. Onward I go by myself, and she might just boogie on down the road, go where she's going, continue on with her life in a very kind of like quiet, understated way. It's funny though, quiet and understated, and we have this very tropical, very colorful bird. Again, she has no idea what kind of like waves she makes when she enters and leaves a room, does she? You know, if you see a bird this colorful fly past you, you're going to notice. She thinks she's invisible. She is not invisible. We've got this Wheel of Fortune upright. This is, again, she already had the Wheel of Fortune. We see it again. This is a time of her life where I think she's going to be a little bit stunned that he may not be the only contestant that is going to be tossing his cap at her. She keeps thinking she's off by herself. I don't know if she notices him some afternoon, evening, and then she dismisses it, doesn't think about it, goes home, goes to bed, goes about her day. Because we definitely have day and nighttime being shown. So I'm seeing passage of time in this perspective shift. And then we have early dawn. That's the Hanged Man. Definitely we have a little bit of passage of time, even maybe a couple days pass before there's a significant change. We have the World, again, passage of time. This is metamorphosis. I don't think her life is going to be the same, even though she doesn't know it. I think a couple days seem to pass. She thinks nothing more of it. What is going on in those couple days? What's he thinking about? Because he has seen her. He has felt some kind of way. So the big reveal is coming. We have the Moon in the reverse. Again, now we go to twilight. So we keep seeing him like thinking about her for a couple days probably before he reaches out. In the meantime, she's long since like dismissed this and gone on about her life, having no clue, no clue at all that there's a big reveal on the horizon coming from him. Two of Cups. And once again, we go to that very first card that we already saw, the Two of Cups card. The big reveal on his part is that he's got an awful lot to say to her about, hey there. So, about the way I feel about you, how do I explain? I've kind of become an emperor and I've noticed you and, you know, you're somebody that stands out to me as this really authentic person. And I feel like you're my Two of Cups and now I know what that means. And I, you know, like there's a lot for him to say. We've already kind of covered all of it already in this. It's just, I feel like this is the last thing she would have expected to hear from him or perhaps anyone. That's just a lot going to be coming at her that she does not expect. And then we go back to that Two of Wands. Remember that was the other first card that we had, and now we're coming full circle. With the Two of Wands being here, you notice that we're like looking through a telescope. I almost feel like... yeah, if you use a telescope because you're trying to look at something from like a long distance. And I almost feel like she's trying to figure out, because remember, this is unfamiliar territory for her. I feel like she's going to be trying to figure out why the hell do you think I'm your Two of Cups? When did you get to know me so well? from what distance, what binoculars you've been using to monitor my life? I don't understand this. How is it that you think you have so much emotion from me? What is it? Even though, okay, we have the Temperance card, and Temperance is about balance. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense why you feel better around somebody. Sometimes it doesn't make sense why you just know that you're going to get along with somebody. But let's think about it from the animal kingdom. I can watch Aries when we walk. I can tell you from a half a block away what dog he's going to think is awesome, what dog he's not going to care about, what dog he's going to be like, oh, don't touch me, that's so gross, or what dog he's going to be like, don't even look at my mom, she's my mom, she's not going to pet your fur, she only pets Aries fur, and he gets all defensive and protective over me. I can pretty much tell you who it's going to be. I used to think it was all about what breed it was. Now I realize it's sometimes that's true, but other times I can just tell his tail, juts up in a different way. He looks a little sharper. He moves me to the side. He shows me, for whatever reason, he already knows who's friend or foe or disgust. I don't know why. He does not seem to like wiener dogs. He thinks that they're repulsive. I think they're cute. He does not want them near him. He acts like, oh, those little doggies. And they're always super sweet to him. And I always feel like, Aries, being rude. What is wrong with you? But the reason I go on and on about that is because sometimes you just know who you vibe with. And even if she's saying, I don't get it. I didn't get, how have you seen me? Why would you think this? Why are you so sure? But remember, she already looked back over her shoulder and thought, that's somebody that I would, I for some reason I could picture some kind of like energy where I could see us working well together. And then she dismissed it. So it's not 100% fair for her to say, like, I don't get it. How would you know this about me? How does she know that about them with just one glance? How does anybody know when they're drawn to somebody? It's really hard to explain. But there's a sense of peace. There's a sense of maybe something divine here. I just know. I definitely can resonate with that. Like, I would say it's fair, not even just in the animal kingdom. I'm using that as a more like obvious visual because most everybody has seen animals react. But I know for my own self, I can pretty much always tell also, even from a distance, human to human, that comes across not necessarily friend or foe, but definitely like someone who's already going to be important to your heart or not. I would say I've always known, even in a photo sometimes. With the Hierophant in the reverse, it isn't something where it's not even coming from the higher self. It's coming from somewhere else. It's that connection, it's that vibe, it's the water that flows through our, maybe the blood that flows through our heart. It's something else altogether that tells our character this. Somebody, I hear fire alarms. I can't believe Aries isn't going nuts. I don't know if anybody can hear that on their end, but there's definitely fire alarms going off right now, someplace at a great distance from me. I was not making toast and burning it tonight, so it is not me. Okay, this is my pheromone card. And you notice that this is coming from the heart. It's this invisible, whatever this is. Maybe it's the sound of the way your heart beats, or maybe it's the smell of you with the pheromones, or maybe it's something else we don't have words for. But these two, she can say all day, I don't get how they know, but she knows the same thing. It's the right person at the right time, somehow, some way. He is definitely the one approaching her in this storyline. Let me get one other. We get the High Priestess. All of this is now dealing with the intangible world that exists, whether we want to admit it or not. What has drawn them together? It's whatever that energy is that exists between all living things, that magnetizes us. It pulls us toward the places and the people that we're supposed to meet at the right time in our lives for the right lessons or for the right blessings. And I don't have a better explanation than that for this, because we end with 3 major arcana, all of which, just because of the imagery on this one, but all of which talk about the thing that's really hard to pin down with genuine like descriptions. It's the stuff that you feel without being able to explain it. And so we kind of shy away from trying to explain it, because then you sound like a nut. But it's there, and any person who's ever loved another person probably knows exactly what this intangible thing is, So I gotta say, this storyline is gonna work out for these two. I mean, like in a really big way, even though it seems like such a strange thing, such a I'm not even gonna say that they're an unlikely match at all. They're a perfect match. But many things had to change and take different shapes. They had to evolve as people. This I don't even know if these two could have met or would have been attracted to each other in the past. I think everything had to take as many years as it did, as much time as it did for these two to kind of like be. I'm picturing like if you've ever made like a bread dough or a cookie dough or something, and you have to work in like a couple drops of food coloring to color it, and it takes a while to like get that amalgamated in, and that's what I'm picturing is like these two took a while to get things amalgamated to where it would be like, okay, now it works, now we can be like together, we are who we needed to become. That chemistry has occurred within each of us, and now we can actually kind of like be melded together. All right, you guys, it's really nice to see you. Okay, I wondered, do you hear it? I hear it too. I think we should probably go and check because that's a lot of fire alarms. Yeah, we'll go check. Sorry, Aries is. I don't know how he slept through so much of that, but all right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry I got to bounce out and go check. Bye.